There was a student who was being mocked and beaten by his classmates because of his appearance. His name was Yuya. One day, he saw a woman who was being forced by the 3 men to come with them. He had the courage to help the girl, but the men just beat him up. When the police came, the bad men who beat him quickly left the area. The woman wanted to help him, but he refused and left, while the woman and the police just watched him walk away. Then he remembered his grandfather's words that he should help those who are in need. Since he was a child, he was always bullied at school, and even his own family did not treat him as a human being. It was only his grandfather who treated him well. After his grandfather's death, he left his properties to his grandson. His parents could not accept this and tried to take them back from him, but they failed. In their anger, his parents told him that he was no longer their son, so he went to work as a newspaper delivery boy to support himself. By the time he graduated from middle school, his classmates continued to bully him. When he got home, he could not control his anger, so he punched the mirror in the restroom. When he punched the wall, it suddenly opened and he entered inside a room. He saw the strange things in it and remembered the souvenirs that his grandfather used to bring whenever he would go somewhere. He saw a door, and he opened it. When he entered the other room, he was surprised when something suddenly appeared in front of him. He saw what was written on it, then he realized that he had gone to another world, and that he had acquired abilities. He saw a lot more that he could do, including turning anything in the room into money. He saw the letter from the previous owner of the house, and it was stated that he would bequeath the house and his belongings to the first person who would come into this house. When he saw the weapons, he went out the house to try them all, and by doing this, it automatically added to his skills. Then he also got the true martial arts skill. While he was keeping the weapons, a bloody ogre suddenly appeared and repeatedly attacked the barrier surrounding the house. He tried to attack the monster with the spear that he was holding, and to his surprise, he killed it instantly. Because of this, his level also upgraded. When the bloody ogre disappeared, it left behind various things, and before he returned to the other world, he was able to exchange them for money. When he got back to his room, he felt pain all over his body. In the morning, he noticed that his body felt strange. Since he broke his glasses, he did not see the changes in his body. After he got dressed, he visited the other world and watered the strange plants in the yard. Those were unfamiliar to him but all had amazing abilities. After a while, a hell slime also attacked, but he quickly defeated it. He got the necklace of the black moon from this slime, which was rare to find. When he put it on, his level immediately upgraded, and he got the detect presence skill. The class started and the girls were staring at him because of his appearance, that even his 2 siblings, named Yuta and Sora, were not able to recognize him. Because of the sudden change in his appearance, his other classmates asked him his name. So he introduced himself as Yuya, that those who knew him, as well as his 2 siblings, were shocked. Because they did not believe him, Yuya immediately went to the restroom, and it was here that he saw the change in his entire body. He was taken to the back of the building by his bully classmates who were with Yuta and Sora. While they were talking to him, the woman he helped the other day suddenly came. Even though Yuya's body changed a lot, the woman still recognized him. After the woman mentioned how Yuya helped her that day, Yuya remembered that day too. This woman wanted to thank him, so she invited Yuya to the super elite school, the isekai Academy. This surprised them, and that was when they noticed the girl's uniform. The girl introduced herself as Kaori, a member of the student council, and the daughter of the chairman of the isekai Academy. Because Yuya was hesitant to go with Kaori, Yuta intervened and suggested that he and Sora were interested to enroll in the isekai Academy. Kaori immediately rejected them because she knew the bad things that they were doing to insult Yuya. Kaori managed to convince Yuya, and they left for isekai Academy. When they arrived at the academy, Yuya immediately met Kaori's father, named Tsukasa. When he learned that Yuya saved Kaori, Tsukasa wanted him to study at isekai Academy because he believed that it was what's best for him. Since Yuya could not make a decision yet, he was told that he would undergo a trial enrollment on that day so that he could experience being a student at the academy. Miss Sawada arrived, and she would be the homeroom advisor in the class where Yuya would attend. When they entered the room, Yuya introduced himself, then he noticed that the students were dumbfounded when they saw him. A few minutes when the class started, he immediately noticed how different the isekai Academy was from other schools. By noon, he met Ryo, and he invited him to go to the canteen to eat. When they got their food, they joined the table where Shingo, one of their classmates, was seated. Yuya noticed that the other students were looking at him. In the afternoon, after class, he talked to the chairman again, and because he liked his stay in the academy, he decided to study there. After talking to Tsukasa, he came out of the office and met Kaori, then they decided to go home together. They saw a lot of people in a food stall, so they ordered food for their snack. Then they agreed to call each other in their first name, and eat their snack together. The other people were staring at them because of their closeness. When Yuya returned home, he went to the other world again. After killing the monsters that tried to enter his yard, he thought that it might be the right time for him to go out and face the stronger monsters in the forest to upgrade his level. The moment he got out of the fence, he heard a voice of a man. He immediately went to the location and saw the dead bodies of people. He also saw a goblin who was trying to harm a woman. When this goblin saw Yuya, it attacked him. Yuya quickly knocked it down, and as he approached the woman, the goblin attacked again and was able to hit him. He attacked with his Omni sword, and it was the moment when he killed the goblin. He approached the woman again, but she suddenly lost consciousness. Then he heard a man's voice calling the name Lexia, so he quickly hid. The soldiers who were looking for the woman came there. When he returned to the original world and while ironing his uniform, he thought of the woman that he had saved. Then he noticed that he was repeatedly wearing the same clothes, so he decided to buy a new one because he already had the money. He went to the mall and did not notice that the girls were staring at him. At that time, there was currently a photo shoot going on in this mall. But they had a problem because the male model had not yet arrived. The photographer, named Hikaru, decided to just look for an instant male model in the mall to replace the other model. They started searching, and while they were on the escalator, Hikaru noticed Yuya. He immediately talked to him and successfully convinced Yuya to agree on his offer. And even though Yuya felt awkward, the shots still went well. Even the viewers were amazed on the tandem of the two. While they were resting, Yuya and the model girl, named Miao, had a talk for a while. Yuya was amazed at Miao's perfect pictures, so she told him about those times when she was just starting modeling. Miao said that she also made many mistakes when she was a beginner in modeling, but she was inspired to work well for her fans, who were happy with her photos. A few moments later, the male model, named Sho, suddenly arrived. He immediately approached Miao and invited her to have a drink. Yuya tried to stop Sho from forcing Miao to come with him, causing Sho to get annoyed at Yuya. Sho attacked him, but Yuya just dodged it and knocked him down effortlessly. Yuya noticed that Sho's movements were very slow, and it seemed that he did a stronger attack on him. Then he also immediately realized that he had caused a big problem because he had a fight with a model. But he was surprised when those who saw what he did cheered on him because they were impressed on what he did. Since Hikaru was able to capture a video on what happened, they used it to send Sho away. When Sho left, Hikaru offered Yuya to try modeling as well. But even though Yuya had a good experience at it, he knew that he could not do the job properly, so he rejected the offer. Meanwhile, when Lexia woke up, she remembered the man who saved her. Because she wanted to meet him, she decided to go back to the forest. The leader of the soldiers, named Owen, could do nothing but accompany Lexia. When they entered the forest, they fought against the goblins. The goblin was about to attack Lexia when Yuya came to save her again. They were amazed as they watched Yuya fight the goblins. After he defeated the enemies, Yuya made the wounded soldiers drink his cure-all herb. Lexia approached him and offered him to be her husband, which surprised them all. Because of this, Lexia and Owen argued, and Yuya invited them to his house, so the monsters won't come after them. Lexia never thought that Yuya lived in this forest, called the Darkest Region. When they got to Yuya's house, it was here that Owen introduced themselves that they were from the kingdom of Arzelia. It was the moment when Yuya found out that Lexia was actually a princess in this kingdom. After hearing them, Yuya also introduced himself. Because his name was strange, Lexia thought that he might be a prince from another kingdom. But Owen also had a hunch that he might be a spy. Since Yuya would not accept Lexia's offer yet, they agreed to be friends first. Owen also told him another reason why they wanted to talk to him. They wanted to invite Yuya to the kingdom so that the king could personally thank him. Yuya thought of accepting it, but it would be on their upcoming vacation. On the other side of this world, a masked man spoke to his assigned disciple to kill Lexia. He found out that Lexia was still alive even though the assassins were successful in bringing Lexia away from the soldiers who were with her. This man intended to take revenge on what Lexia did to him. When the time came of Yuya's first day at Usui Academy, he was wearing his uniform and was introduced to the whole class again. Because he did not have the uniform for PE yet, he was not able to participate in their activities that day. While he was watching his classmates, a girl named Kid approached him and the two of them started talking. Akira accidentally kicked the ball towards Kid, so Yuya quickly kicked it away. They were all surprised on what Yuya did. They thought that his kick was not normal. A few hours later, while Kaori was in her PE class, the group called Red Ogres came there. Yuta and Sora were with them, who had a plan to kidnap Kaori to take revenge because she rejected the two. Yuya saw them, and when he was about to go there, his knees suddenly trembled. He felt scared, but he quickly calmed himself down. Instead of going through the stairs, he went through the window to get down from the 4th floor. He immediately faced the group of Araki, and he quickly got past them. Omori confronted him and Yuya defeated him immediately. When he got close to Kaori, the leader of the Red Ogres took action and tried to run over Yuya with his motorcycle. Yuya avoided it, then the driver lost his control, and the motorcycle kept going until it crashed. The police also arrived and arrested the Red Ogres including Yuta and Sora. Yuta angrily said that the Red Ogres were useless. For this reason, the leader got angry and strangled Yuta to kill him. Yuya immediately approached to stop the man. The leader rushed at him, but Yuya just stared at him angrily, causing this man to freeze in fear. Yuta and Sora could not believe that Yuya would help them because they had committed many sins on him. But Yuya told them that he still could not let his family be endangered. They became emotional while apologizing to their big brother. One day, when he was about to enter the other world, he remembered what Owen said about the darkest region. It was the most dangerous of all regions because of the living monsters here that could destroy even a big city. He fought against the monsters again to get stronger. Suddenly, he heard the sound of a whining dog, so he went to it. He saw the king orc beating a dog. After seeing the power level of the king orc, he thought of avoiding it. But he could not leave the dog behind, so he was forced to fight the king orc. He attacked it with his spear, and when he was about to use his sword, he was surprised that he had killed it already. This made him wonder who was this sage who created these powerful weapons. After he gave the dog a cure-all herb, it immediately got better. Because of his kindness, the dog liked him, so he decided to take it home. At the same time, he also got the skill to make monsters his ally. When he saw the dog's stats, he found out that it was unexpectedly strong. He named it Night because of the color of its fur. The next day he asked his friends if they could recommend a pet shop. There was a pet shop that Ryo and Shingo knew, but since they could not accompany him, Kid offered to go with him. After class, they immediately went to the pet shop and bought the things they needed for Night. When he returned home, he tried all his purchases on his pet and took Night for a walk in the nearby square. He saw Kaori there, and after a while, he also saw Mio. There had been an awkward moment on the three of them that the other people also noticed. People recognized Mio, so she decided to leave there immediately. Suddenly, they heard a woman scream and saw the pickpocket running. Yuya ordered Night to chase the pickpocket, then he and Kaori went to the old woman. After a few moments, Night returned while dragging the pickpocket towards them. When Kaori was about to call the police, the pickpocket managed to get away and quickly rushed at Kaori, but Yuya stopped him and knocked him down. After they returned home, Yuya entered the other world again, and together with Night, they fought against different kinds of monsters in the forest. They found a crystal deer with a higher level than King Orc. While Yuya was debating whether he would fight it or not, it suddenly felt them. Since they had no other choice, he decided to face it. And as he expected, it was also using magic and could use two different types. After it attacked them, Night had a chance to injure the crystal deer. It was the moment that Yuya attacked it, and they successfully defeated the creature. They got an item from the crystal deer, which was a bath set, and by nightfall, he used it and he took a bath with Night. One day they found a cave, and while they were exploring its interior, the torches suddenly lit. They saw a skeleton of a person who was holding a book with the title, The Book of the Sage. When Yuya opened it, he was surprised by what was written on it. He read from this book the experiences of the sage who owned it. According to the text, the sage was so strong and able to do everything, and even entered the realm of gods. The gods asked this sage to join them, but he refused their offer. Yuya also learned that the power that he had was stronger than he expected. And the time would come that the people would also fear him, just like what happened to the sage. Yuya asked himself on what he should do to avoid this prediction from happening. Suddenly, he heard a voice answering his question. He tried to ask again, and when someone answered him, he confirmed that the sage was talking to him. The book suddenly lit up, and according to the sage that he was talking to, the book was filled with all the magic that he knew. But because Yuya was from another world, he did not possess magical power. Because of this, the sage would grant Yuya his magical power. After it was given to Yuya, their conversation had also ended. When they got back to the house, Yuya immediately studied on how to use the magic. After a few minutes of reading, he tried the water ball outside. He did it successfully, and even Knight did it too. Together they aimed at a tree, and Yuya was surprised on how strong it was. On the other hand, Owen informed the king on the result of their meeting with Yuya. Owen noted Yuya's unusual name, and suspected that he might be from a different country. Then he accidentally mentioned that Lexia offered Yuya to marry her. The king could not believe it, that he asked for his sword and released his anger. One day, their advisor informed their class about the off-campus study, and since each group consisted of 4 members, Yuya was with Kid, Akira, and Rin. Since it would take 2 nights, they decided to shop for things they needed to bring. Kaori was with them, while Akira could not come because she had to go somewhere. When they went to the mall, they passed by the crane games because Shingo wanted to play. So Yuya helped his classmates get what they wanted using his detect weakness skill. When each got their chosen items, the boys decided to go to the 7th floor where the cafes were located, and the girls went to the 13th floor. While they were in a cafe, they heard the alarm signal that there was a fire in the building. They quickly ran to the exit of the building. When Yuya asked the employee of the building if there were 3 women passed by from the above floor, Ryo received a call from Kid. They were shocked when they found out that the girls were still up there, so Yuya immediately went to them and told Ryo and Shingo to evacuate. When Yuya reached the 13th floor, he used the magic he learned to cover his entire body with water. He immediately saw the girls and picked them up to leave the area. Due to the rapid spread of the fire, and the continued collapse of some parts of the building, Yuya decided to use his power. Because of this, they quickly reached the ground floor and successfully got out of the building. In the other world, there were 2 divines who were fighting. One of them was Yudi, who possessed the power of the divine archer, and she asked Usagi, the deity of kicks, to work with her to destroy their world. One day, Yuya tried to use the magic he learned to teleport. He did it successfully that he and Knight ended up in the middle of the forest. Then they found a cave nearby and entered it. While they were walking inside, they encountered 2 goblins, so Yuya fought and killed them quickly. After that, they came out of the cave, and Yuya decided to go back to their world, because he was going to prepare for their off-campus study trip. But Knight did not want to go home yet, then it suddenly ran away. In the distance, Knight felt something close to them that it stopped running. In this situation, Knight signaled him to hide, which Yuya immediately understood. They saw a wounded woman who was surrounded by goblins. Yuya was about to help her, but Knight stopped him. The fight between the woman and the goblins continued, until a goblin hit the woman with a strong attack, causing her to lose consciousness. The goblins were about to kill her when Yuya appeared, then he and Knight defeated the goblins. But more goblins came there, so Yuya used the divine whip. It was so powerful that they defeated the goblins immediately. Then Yuya decided to bring the girl to where he lived. But she suddenly woke up and quickly moved away from him. To show that he was not an enemy, Yuya gave her a cure-all herb to heal the injuries she sustained. After Yuya introduced himself, the girl said that her name was Luna. Yuya asked her what she was doing in the forest, and Luna said that she was just having her training when the goblins suddenly attacked her. When Yuya said that he was also practicing in this forest, Luna was surprised by this. She was not expecting that Yuya was able to train in this forest. Luna was about to return to town, but she thought that she could not return without washing herself. Because of this, Yuya offered her to take a bath in his bath item. Luna just asked if he could go with her to practice. Yuya thought on whether or not he would agree on Luna's request. After a few moments, he decided to agree to this, and Luna was happy about it. They immediately start their training, and as they do this, they also fight the goblins that they encountered. Yuya taught Luna a lot, and he also learned new techniques from Luna. After a while, Yuya told Luna that he would not be able to join her in the training starting the next day because of their off-campus study trip. For this reason, he also decided to accompany Luna until sunrise. While he was on the bus for their off-campus study trip, his classmates noticed that he had been yawning for several times. Because of this, Yuya decided to sleep first while they were still on the bus. A few hours later, Rin woke him up because they had arrived at the place where their off-campus study trip would be held. After they got dressed, they gathered in the hall and Miss Sawada let them know what they were going to do. Their school doctor, named Yamakawa, was also with them. They did not even expect that they would be sleeping in the forest. After Sawada finished explaining everything, they all went to the forest. Yuya and Kid decided that they would go fishing, while their other members would look for mushrooms and other plants that they could eat. When they went to the river, many students were already there, and they also saw Ryo. Yuya used his skill to find a place where they could get more fish. Then he caught the fishes by just using one of his hands, causing the other students to marvel at him. Yuya noticed that he was faster, and thought that maybe it was because of the training he had with Luna. While Luna's technique had also been strengthened. Luna turned out to be an assassin, who was known as the Headhunter, and she was also a member of the Dark Guild. When they got back to their tent, they noticed Akira who seemed to have lost his energy. It turned out that Akira was made by Rin into a bait to keep the bears away. After they gathered what they got, they brought and showed them to Miss Sawada. Miss Sawada was happy because the students gathered a lot of foods to eat. Yuya immediately started cooking, since he was the only one in their group who knew how to cook. When his groupmates tasted the meal he prepared, they were amazed on how good it was. Even Miss Sawada and their other teachers who just passed by also ate a lot after seeing the foods on the table. After they ate, Yuya decided to go home first using teleportation to feed Night. The next day, they were all surprised that their other things were scattered. Akira was stunned by what he saw, because it looked like a footprint from a bear. While they were getting something to eat for their breakfast, they saw the scratches on the trees. And Yuya immediately remembered what Akira said about the bear the other day. Suddenly, a bear appeared to them and they quickly ran. When they got to their tents and to their classmates' location, Miss Sawada helped them. Then they quickly ran towards the safe place, but Miss Sawada tripped and fell to the ground. When the bear attacked, Yuya was able to stop its arm. The two of them fought, and Yuya was able to defeat the big bear, which shocked everyone. Miss Sawada was about to reprimand Yuya because what he did was dangerous, but since he saved her, she let it go. After a while, Kaori came and informed them that this bear would act as their guard. This happened after they get permission from the academy and the local government. If the bear attacked them again, Kaori mentioned that they would just grill, causing the bear to be worried. Out of fear, the bear actually served as their guard until the end of their off-campus study trip. The day of Yuya's meeting with the king of Arzelia had arrived. Before Lexia came, he and Knight defeated the monsters they saw along their way. Yuya had no idea that someone was watching him. It was only a few moments when Lexia came to pick him up. Knight suddenly rushed to Lexia, and Yuya immediately noticed that the tree was falling, so he quickly split it. When he saw the string on the tree, he ordered Knight to find the person who did it. After Knight tracked her down, she was immediately attacked by Yuya. The mask she was wearing was removed, and Yuya was surprised that it was Luna. Lexia came there, and he told her that he knew the girl who had a bad plan on her. Yuya told Lexia that he would bring Luna to his house in order to heal and talk to her one last time. Lexia immediately agreed and decided to go with Yuya. When Owen's troop was about to reach them, Yuya used teleportation to get them to his house quickly. Since Yuya's use of it, Lexia told him that this kind of magic was only known in legend. She added that if someone discovered that a person was using magic, it could cause a war. So she forbade Yuya to use teleportation magic in front of other people. Then she told Luna to get up because she knew that Luna was just pretending to be unconscious. Lexia wanted to know everything about Luna, but Luna preferred to die than to reveal her identity. Yuya said that he also wanted to get to know Luna more, and her reason for wanting to kill Lexia. That's why Luna was forced to talk about her life. Luna said that she was just all alone when he was a child, and she went through a lot of hardships just to survive. Until one day, there was a man who taught her not only how to read and write, but also on various assassination techniques. Based in Luna's story, Lexia knew right away that she was referring to the Dark Guild. She added that this was an organization whose activities were purely illegal. Luna said that like her master, she also became a member of his organization. Because of the things she had done, she had been called the Headhunter. Until one day, she was given a mission, and it was to kill Lexia. She knew that her death was near after what happened that day. And if the Dark Guild also found out that she had failed, they would also send someone to kill her, so she already accepted her destiny. But she did not expect when Lexia said that she wanted to make Luna her personal bodyguard. Even though Luna did not want to accept it because of her past, and she knew that she did not deserve it, Lexia did not take her reasons. Because of Lexia's insistence, Luna could not do anything but accept her offer. Since it was getting late, the girls decided to spend the night at Yuya's house. The next day, they met Owen, and Yuya also told them that he could no longer come with them in the palace. He told them that he did not have enough time, but he never told them that he was going to school. Even though Lexia and Owen were disappointed, they could not do anything, so they showed him the way to the palace in case Yuya thought of going there. When Lexia and her companions left, he saw a beautiful lake. He and Knight decided to bathe, and while enjoying the water, Yuya noticed an animal that looked like a pig. He immediately tamed it, and like Knight, it became his property. He tested its ability, to which he also liked. He thought for its name and he based it on its color, so he named it Akatsuki. When Knight showed him the clock, he quickly moved to return to the other world. He returned to school and they talked about the class competition event, which was ball games. The first game they played was soccer, and since Yuya had not yet memorized its rules, he served as a goalkeeper. After Akira snatched the ball from Ryo, he quickly ran to score. After Akira kicked the ball, they were all surprised on how Yuya quickly blocked the ball to prevent Akira from scoring. Since Yuya did not know what to do next, Ryo told him to throw it with a lot of force. As soon as he threw it, everyone was shocked by how strong it was, causing him to score a goal. After class, while they were walking home, a man named Kenji called them and introduced himself that he was from Star One Production. The director of the company was also there to offer Yuya to be one of their talents, but he quickly rejected them. After a few moments, Myo got out of the car to greet them. Shingo and Ryo were surprised that Myo and Yuya knew each other. So they showed to them the magazine where they saw Yuya and Myo on its cover. The director brought Myo with them because they wanted her to help them convince Yuya. Suddenly, a poster of a ball sports competition landed on the ground, and it was from Kaori. When the director saw this, she read it and came up with a good idea to still film Yuya even if he refused to be a part of the company. Then they immediately went to the chairman's office to talk to him. At night, Yuya entered the other world again, and together with Knight and Akatsuki, they fought the skeletons in the forest. After a few minutes of walking, he came across a large wild boar, and he thought that it was Akatsuki. It suddenly attacked him, and the creature hit him. It turned out to be a mithril boar. When he was about to drink the cure-all herb, it attacked him again. It continued to attack until another creature, named Usagi, suddenly attacked it. The wild boar got up and it rushed at Usagi, but Usagi just defeated it with a single attack that even the hard trees were also affected. Usagi taught Yuya how to kick properly, and they had a fight for a while. The sunlight shone on them, then Yuya asked why Usagi wanted to teach them. It was the moment that Usagi told Yuya that he chose him to be his successor. Usagi further explained that he was a divine, and his duty was to protect this world from evil. Yuya did not accept the offer to be a divine, but he wanted to be strong to protect the people he met in this world, including Knight and Akatsuki. Even though he refused, Usagi still decided to train him, and in return, Usagi wanted him to teach him magic. As they continued their training, Usagi chose the King Mithril Boar to fight against Yuya. At first, Yuya was having a hard time in fighting it, nevertheless, he successfully defeated it. He got a lot of SS rank items from the King Mithril Boar, and because his level had also increased, he reached the level that made him evolve as well. When the ball sports competition of the academy came, the people from Star One Production were also there to take pictures of Yuya while he was playing. His opponent in table tennis was the national tournament's undisputed champion known as Sniper. His opponent scored immediately, but Yuya remembered that fight against a king mithril boar was more difficult. He took his turn but could not control his strength, causing him to create a hole in the table. For this reason, he decided to withdraw from the game, because he was worried that he might hurt other people. When Yuya was on his way home in the afternoon, he saw Kaori outside and they went home together. They discussed the upcoming exam and decided to study at Yuya's house. While in the darkest region, Usagi and Yuti met again. When Usagi used magic, Yuti was surprised. Usagi told her that Yuya was currently teaching him. Because of this, Yuti decided that she needed to kill Yuya before taking Usagi's life. She could feel that Yuya would be a threat to her. When Yuti was about to leave, Usagi tried to stop her, but failed to catch her. The next day, Yuya and Kaori started studying at his house. While Yuya was still struggling to answer, Kaori told him that she would use the bathroom. Yuya thought that Kaori might get lost in the house. When he followed her, Kaori was already in front of the door to another world. Since Kaori was curious about it, he told his secret to her. He told everything about it, including his magic and inexplicable strength. He invited Kaori to come in there, so Kaori took this opportunity to see the other world. When they got out of the house, Yuya said a lot more to her about this world. He added that Knight and Akatsuki also came from there. Kaori's stats suddenly appeared, and Yuya was surprised that she was stronger than him when he first came in that world. Before they returned, he begged not to tell the others about all of this, and Kaori agreed. When Lexia arrived at the palace, the king immediately asked why Yuya was not with them. Luna answered this, and told the king about her sloppy assassination on Lexia. When the king heard this, he immediately took the sword and attacked Luna, but Luna was able to stop him. Lexia reprimanded her father, and she also said that Luna would become her personal bodyguard. After hearing this, the king could not do anything, and just recognized Luna as Lexia's personal bodyguard. The masked person also found out about Headhunter's failure on her mission, and he was told that it was because of a person living in the darkest region. This masked man was Rhaegar, the Prince of Arzelia, and he also found out that Lexia appointed Headhunter as her personal bodyguard. They also heard the information that the king had invited the person who intervened in the assassination, which was Yuya. The prince had an idea so that he could get his father's throne. He had his men use the magic sealing barrier to attack the palace. If they could kill the king and Lexia, the prince would just blame it on Yuya, and they would also kill him. The Academy's vacation after the ball sports competition arrived, so Yuya took advantage of it to visit the royal capital. Before they head to the palace, he got some paradise bedding from the sheep that he had defeated. When they reached the town, he was amazed to see the demi-humans. He went to a merchant guild to register, and he also sold the peppers that came from Japan. The merchant was amazed at the bottles of the peppers, so he paid him 100 pieces of gold coins. He also gave Yuya a guild card that would serve as his identification card. When he arrived at the palace, he was met by Owen. He did not expect that Owen would present him to the king right away. He entered the room where King Arnold was waiting, then he also saw Lexia and Luna. At first, the king did not treat him well because of what he heard from Owen about him and Lexia. Soon he also calmed down and asked Yuya regarding his gift for Lexia. Since he did not have anything with him, he thought of giving the paradise bedding. The king got even more angry at him, and only then he found out that it means offering marriage if he gave a blanket as a gift. When the king was about to attack him, the prince's men suddenly came. The king immediately ordered the palace mages to attack, but the enemy used the magic sealing barrier. Then the battle started, and with Yuya's speed, the opponents could not even attack until all of them were defeated. When Owen checked the clothes of the opponents, he saw on one of them the prince's crest. Because of this, Owen immediately begged Yuya to protect Lexia and help them solve the rebellion that the prince was planning. A few hours later, Lexia took Yuya on a tour of the royal capital. Luna was also with them, while Owen was just following wherever they go. Because of what Yuya was wearing, he was mistaken for a noble from another place. They were also allowed to enter the Adventurers Guild, so Yuya and Luna decided to register their names. Luna said that it would be easier for them to sell materials from the monsters they defeat once they became members of the guild. The receptionist, named Emilia, assisted them on their registration. As he answered the form for the magic types, Yuya only put water, fire, and wind. He thought that he might have problems once he put all that he knew. As for the magic energy capacity, Emilia took out something that looked like a crystal ball. They could use it to see how much magical energy an adventurer had depending on the color it emitted. When Luna touched it, it released a yellow color. But when Yuya had his turn to touch it, the crystal ball suddenly broke, and this surprised other adventurers. Yuya thought that he was going to pay for it, but Emilia told him that it was okay since he did not mean it. When Emilia saw his registration form, she was also shocked that he could use 3 magic types. After that, Luna gave them their guild cards. Since they were just beginners, they would start at the lowest rank or the rank F. While they were looking at the guild requests, Yuya was approached by a drunk woman who was also an adventurer. She introduced herself as Glenna, and told Yuya that if there was a chance, they could go on a quest together. After choosing a request for rank F, they also started their mission, and it was the search for medicinal plants. A few hours later, Owen came there to inform them that they had found the prince's hiding place. In that situation, he also begged Yuya if he could help them to capture the prince. They left immediately and the sun was setting when they reached the prince's residence. There were other soldiers who came before them. One of the soldiers opened the door, but he was hit with a dagger in the thigh. When they entered the house, the prince was currently holding a hostage. Yuya ordered Knight to attack, causing the prince to let go of his hostage. They immediately surrounded him, but the prince refused to surrender and attacked the soldiers. Then he threatened them that he would commit suicide, so Yuya quickly approached him. He repeatedly attacked Yuya, until Knight rushed on him, then he lost his balance because of Akatsuki. When the soldiers were about to take the prince out, Yuri appeared to them. It turned out that the prince was also an accomplice on her plans, but since the prince had failed, Yuri no longer needed him. The prince thought that Yuri would help him get the throne to give him a high position, but Yuri's real plan was to make the prince into king, so that he could start a war and kill many people. When she was about to kill the prince, Owen tried to stop her, but he was also stopped by an arrow and they did not know where it came from. Yuya thought that it came from outside, but they were shocked that it came from Yuri. She them with a lot of arrows, so Yuya decided to use his power. It was so strong that he was able to stop Yuri's attack. When Owen mentioned Yuya's name, it was here that Yuri realized that the one that she was looking for was right in front of her. Yuri intended to use the power of the vial, but since she was also getting weak, she decided to retreat first. When they got back to the palace, Owen asked Yuya to attend the meeting on what to do with the prince after they caught him and learned his evil plans. When the prince was presented to them, the soldiers forced to remove his mask and his clothes. Because of this, everyone saw the scars all over his body. The king and Lexia could not look directly at the prince. The prince blamed Lexia because it happened when she was unable to control her power. Although the wounds that he suffered that day had healed, he lost his mind after witnessing Lexia's extreme power. When Yuya heard this, he remembered the times when he was also experiencing this. Because of this, he asked the king's permission on what he wanted to try. He took out the cure-all herb and put it on the prince's face and body. It instantly healed the scars all over his body, which surprised everyone. When the prince looked at his face in the mirror, he could not believe it either. Yuya said that if everything was happening because of the scar, this was the only way he thought of to help him ease his pain. The prince thanked Yuya on his help. Then the king announced the reward that he would give to Yuya. He gave him a house and land, then he also granted Yuya the position as a Lord Knight. He trained in the darkest region with his pets, but after a while, they were suddenly attacked by someone. Then they heard a woman's voice. When Yuya confirmed that it was Yuri, he asked her why she was attacking him. Yuri answered that he was a threat that could hinder her plans on taking her revenge. As the wind grew stronger around him, Yuri also started to attack. Meanwhile, Kaori went to Yuya's house, and because the gate was left open, Kaori was able to enter it. She also went to the other world, and as she was walking in the forest, she heard explosions. As Yuya continued to avoid her attacks, he and Knight used what they learned from Usagi. But it did not stop Yuri, and they were attacked again. Yuya suddenly saw Kaori hiding behind the rocks. When she attacked, Yuya tried to block it. Luckily, Usagi came there to save him. He learned that Usagi did some investigation about Yuri. Apart from knowing Yuri's real name, he also found out that Yuri was the successor of the divine archer who was murdered. Yuri attacked again, so Usagi and Yuya helped each other to fight her. Then Night bit Yuri on her leg and Usagi followed it with another attack. But she refused to give up and she used the power of the vial. Yuri and Usagi fought each other who almost had equal strength and speed. When Yuri hit Usagi, Akatsuki came out from hiding. It approached the ongoing battle and used its power. When this power reached Yuri, the power of the vial suddenly disappeared from her body, causing her to weaken. When they got down, Yuya put her to sleep, and he immediately picked her up. Akatsuki was also a divine being, and this was the reason why it could stop the power of the vial. Usagi begged Yuya to take care of Yuri, since she could no longer use the power of the vial. Kaori called him, but Yuya saw the monster behind her, so he immediately attacked it, which surprised Kaori. Yuya put Yuri down and told everything to Kaori, saying that this was what he does in that world every day. This was the reason why he leveled up, and she could say that he seemed to be cheating. He thought that Kaori would change his view of him, but Kaori told him that nothing had changed in him even from the day they first met where he saved her. This is the end of the last episode of I Got Cheat Skill in Another World and became unrivaled in the real world too. I hope you like it and give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss new uploaded videos.